Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kauai County Council Roundup. This is the roundup of our meeting on May 1st, our committee meetings. I'm Mel Rapozo, your council chair, with Vice Chair Kipukai Kualii, as well as our housing committee chair. And appreciate Hawike for allowing us to be here today at the studio. We didn't have many items on the agenda, although they were pretty important items. The first item being, the first two items were items pertaining to housing, and the first one was a bill relating to our housing credits and the ability for developers to buy or sell credits that are created when people build more than the requirement of affordable housing in any given development. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our housing committee chair, Mr. Kualii.
Yeah, Bill 2914, the housing credits bill, creating a housing credit system. There are housing credits in place now for the State Department of Hawaiian Homelands for the affordable housing that they built. This is creating a program system so that other developers can also get those credits, both for-profit private developers as well as non-profit developers. So this has been in committee last week. We're working on it. I think we had some amendments last week, and we're in committee again, and we had one more amendment. And basically this amendment was my amendment, and it basically, and it passed. It basically changed the percentage of how the credits were awarded. Basically, for 80% AMI or lower, you would get the full credit, and then from 120% down to 80%, it was 75% credit, but I changed that to half credit, 50%. So basically just giving a bigger credit to the more affordable housing. The 80% or below AMI is where all of our wait listers are, for both rental and for purchase. And we have like 900, I think. He said 1,200 total on the list, but about 300 of them are unreachable. Hey, you should check in if you're on the wait list. If you're not receiving anything from the county, they probably need an updated address from you. So that was the only amendment, and it passed, and there's still more work to be done. So our committee deferred that item for 2 more weeks. I think it ends up being 3 more weeks because we have the WIR conference next week.
There is no meeting next week. There are 5 Wednesdays this month. So on the months that we have 5 Wednesdays, we get 1 week off, and that's next week. We will be going to California for our annual regional conference. I did want to take a step back because I think the credit system is important for people to understand how that works. And one more plug for the housing list. The county has a housing department, housing agency has a county housing list where we encourage everyone to get on that list. And this list, there are some requirements. You have to go to a class and you learn how to build your credit and all of that. But once you complete the course and you complete the requirements, you end up on our list. And when affordable housing units become available, the county reaches out to the people on the list, and you have an opportunity to purchase those homes or rent when rentals become available. But as far as the credits, when a developer comes into the county and they say, let's just use a 100-unit subdivision. If someone wants to come in and build a 100-unit subdivision, the county imposes a 20% affordable housing requirement. In other words, if they build 100 units, 20 of those units need to be in the affordable range. That range is set by the housing agency at the time the project is approved.
Which is just below market value, and that's the 120% AMI that we talk about. So the more affordable housing is the 80% and below.
Correct. And AMI is simply the adjusted median income
from HUD.
So if a developer comes in and decides that instead of building the 20, they want to build 10 extra, then they get 10 credits. Extra credits. Those credits can be used for
maybe future development.
Future requirements. So it's a program that should incentivize the development of affordable housing, and we're hoping that that's what this bill will do. So thanks for the hard work on that.
And in the instance where the developer, those credits are actually could be sold to another developer.
Correct.
So in an instance, one of the nonprofit developers that came forward to testify is Habitat for Humanity, and they do all affordable housing. So if they were to
Sell their credits.
sell their credits to the developer who otherwise wouldn't build affordable housing, then it's their mission, and they do that. So they would obviously put that money towards more affordable housing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're just trying to support more affordable housing wherever and however we can. So that kind of leads us into the other bill. So the other bill was for preferences. So when you do talk about that list, on the list, I think it's by income. There's an income qualification. You got to live on Kauai qualification. And then I think at some point you have to also go through a class.
Right.
But beyond that, there's no further qualifications, preferences. The private developers now can use additional preferences such as geography, employment. So what this other part of the bill, this bill and then the amendment is working towards is creating additional preferences for that county list. So for the 900, whether somebody can move up on that list if they meet these other criteria. Now, I think it was just any criteria, but there was concern from the council last time, and basically, why are we not just strictly following the list? So our housing agency director put forward a compromise, if you will. So for 50%, you will just strictly follow the list. Say a developer is building 100 units. The county's involved with a project that has 100 units. 50 will just follow the list. And then the next 50 will be following the list, but those people on the list, if they meet any one of the additional preferences, which is geography,
workforce,
where you work. And then they added another one, right? Essential workers. So the essential workers is basically all of the, first responders, teachers, doctors, police, firemen. One of the council members brought up the concern about, what do they call them? The nurses?
The traveling nurses.
Traveling nurses would then jump up to the front or whatever. But the traveling nurses is just one of a huge category of all the existing. I mean, this is not for just, new, but someone may have been a policeman or a police officer for 10, 20 years, But again, you're already on the list. So the first thing you have to do is you got to get on the list.
If we can leave one thing with you is, if you have never purchased a home in our county or in anywhere, if you've never owned a home, you have an opportunity to get on that county list. I highly encourage you can go online, go to the housing agency's website at our Kauai.gov website, click on the housing agency and go ahead and get on that list and do what it takes, because as Mr. Kualii said, there's a lot of people on that list, and
there could be a lot more too.
We want more, because when the houses become available, some of those people on the list may not be eligible to qualify.
Yeah. A lot, probably.
Some have already
passed on.
May have purchased a home since then. So the list is
ready,
continuously evolving. So again, get on the county housing list. It's your best shot if you've never owned a home before.
And remember too that we hear all the time, like, oh, they're building these houses and they're just being sold as second and third homes to people who don't live here. Now, we cannot discriminate, right? It's an open market. We're the 50th state of the United States of America. It's commerce, whatever. So we cannot say you gotta sell it to a resident only. But we can say you have to sell it to people who have gotten on this list, have gone through the training. So, for a long time, local families that are growing and the next generation are crowded in your same house and they would want to buy a home one day, get on the list.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
So the amendment was to create that 50%, where 50%, the first 50% of any project is guaranteed to strictly follow the list from number one. and then the other 50% follow the list. But if somebody has a priority, they can move up above somebody that doesn't. A preference, I think it was called.
And it makes sense because you wanna
Yeah.
if the development is, let's say it's a development of of whatever, it could be a restaurant, it could be a hotel, it could be a subdivision, you would wanna keep those people that are already there in that area, in that moku, as they
Yeah.
say. They would, after the first 50 goes through the list, the second 50 would be preferenced by the people that are there.
And of course, ideally, if people are living close to where they work, then they're not on the roads commuting 10, 20, 30 miles to
Yes.
another part of the island, and you lessen traffic, and it kind of benefits everybody. So yeah, that amendment passed as well, and then that bill was also deferred, so we will continue working on it in our next committee meeting. There's still other concerns, and if anybody out there have ideas or concerns, come forward to testify. Even if you don't have to show up, you can send in an email to counciltestimony@kauai.gov.
And I think this is a good time to put the plug in. You know, these two, I mean, Kipukai and I just made it seem like it was a pretty smooth meeting.
It was not.
We had a lot of debate, we had a lot of dialogue, we had public testimony, and there are some opposing views. So
There's no guarantee that the bill will pass
Yeah,
yet
we-
either. We're just trying to make the bill better. That's what we do in committee.
right, www.kauai.gov, webcast meetings. I would say if you're interested in these topics, go www.kauai.gov. Webcast meetings, click on yesterday's meeting and you can watch it. I got to tell you, it is very informative. In fact, there were people came up that testified that told me later that they just did not have any clue of what this was all about. And when you read this in the agenda, you really cannot tell what it's about. So go ahead and watch it. And of course, Hoike, Channel 53.
And interestingly, we had a full chamber because the next issue that Chair is about to talk about, there was a lot of people there to testify on that. So they all got to experience the dialogue and deliberation that we were working on with these amendments. And I thought it was good. I think
It was great.
people
It was
learned
great.
a lot.
We had a lot of people. Chambers was full. It's rarely we get every seat taken. It was that way. But it wasn't because of the housing bills. It was because of the item on the agenda that was a briefing from our administration and AT&T regarding a cell tower that is being proposed out in Haena. And FirstNet is a system that was developed by the federal government, I believe back in 2015 or 2016, some of that. That's when this thing started. And when the plans came forward, there was always this plan for a cell tower out on the North Shore, somewhere in the North Shore, to complete the coverage for emergency personnel, police, fire, ambulance. Because as you know, if you're from Kauai, you know that once you get to the North Shore, cell service can be spotty, radio coverage can be spotty. So it was finally revealed, probably last year at some time, that they had selected a lot in Wainiha actually, that is private property. Someone owns this lot. There's no home on the lot. It's just an empty lot. The owner resides on the mainland. But AT&T, they're planning to put this 90-foot tower. They dressed it up to make it look like a pine tree.
You've seen them. There's some on the island already, right?
Yeah.
By the
problem-
the jail, there's one.
Yeah, there's one right at the jail. The problem is this one is being placed right in an area that the homes are very
Residential.
close.
Yeah.
One testimony was that the pole would be about 30 feet from her bedroom window. It's 100 feet from the highway. But in that area, as you know, Wainiha, there's a lot of homes in that area. When they did the community meeting last year, I guess late last year, the community came out in force, and it was 100% in opposition. There's no one that came forward that supported this project. So the administration asked me to have this on the agenda so they could update the council and the community, and that's what we did. And like their community meeting, we had, within a matter of days, 3 days, maybe 4 days, we had almost 130 written testimonies, all in opposition. And I gotta say, the chambers were full. We probably had about 25 people that actually testified, all in opposition. And I think it's concerns that AT&T and FirstNet and our administration needs to listen, because I went home last night, Kipukai, and I looked out my bedroom window, and I was like, how would I feel
Yeah.
if I was just told that AT&T was going to be putting up a cell tower 30 feet from my window. I don't think I would be too happy. So I am empathetic with the residents out there.
And when it comes to their safety concerns too, about what the cell phone tower emits and what have you, and the dangers of that, though one of the presenters had stated that, the federal guidelines don't, there's no conclusive, but then there's what they said too was there's also no conclusive evidence or data to say that it's safe. So, I think as a matter of precaution too, I think we should be wary and be, supportive of the individuals' concern about it being so close to there. And I mean, they brought their babies too. They brought the keiki into the chamber to testify right up there, right in our faces too.
The federal standards is what the AT&T came out and said, yeah, we're in compliance with federal standards. But I'm a little concerned about some of the studies that I have read that on both sides. There's studies that say it's completely safe. There's some studies that say it causes all kinds of issues. I mean, some serious stuff, scary stuff. The fact that AT&T come out and say they're in compliance with federal standards and safety standards, it's like the water reports. You ever read our water reports where it says, they found this arsenic, they found all these different chemicals in the water, but it's within the federal safe standard zone. I mean, like, how can it be safe if that stuff's not safe? So anyway, I know there's other side to this though, is the safety of our first responders, our police officers and fire. So I see both sides, but my only comment to AT&T and to FirstNet and to our administration was we need to find a better place for them. That's all. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's not an issue that the council will vote on.
Yep.
This issue will go to the planning commission. They have to get a conditional use permit from planning department, from the planning commission, and then they have to go through the permitting. There's a lot more opportunity for the community to testify, but I don't expect it to change. In fact, I would expect this opposition to grow. Mm-hmm. So the administration and AT&T, if what they need to do is start looking at alternatives.
Yeah.
Maybe move that thing up Malka.
Yeah, and for sure, because one of the testifiers did say too, they looked at that prior to, and that there's some Robinson land in the back or what have you. But for sure, away from the individual homes.
From your window.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
But like he was saying too, so our item was a briefing, so we got the information, and then we also got to hear the public testimony. But the decisions is being made at the Planning Commission, so this was a good opportunity for all of those folks who needed to come and testify to begin, spreading the word, their position, their side, what they're looking for, and then they probably will be there at the Planning Commission as well. But I think it's good that the council allows people the forum to voice their concerns to the public as well.
Yeah, a lot of people came up and thanked me for having it on the agenda, but like I said, credit goes to our administration who requested that this item be put on the agenda. So appreciate the mayor and his team for being transparent.
There was some discussion, I don't know if it was testimony or council members throwing ideas too, about finding alternatives, because this is important, right, for public safety. And imagine there's a lot of people out there that also want better cell phone coverage or what have you. But as far as first response goes, there at the lifeguard towers and what have you, they do have some radio systems, but then they're hit and miss too, I think they were saying, Spotty. But, the citizens were absolutely crying for, please find a better way. Please find a safer way.
And I got to say, I agree with them. And I think the council, from what I heard anyway yesterday, it sounded like the entire council members, all of the members felt the same way. Next up was, again, two more bills. These were bills. The first one was real property tax. It was kind of I would like to say it's a house cleaning bill because, if you live in a home that you own, and your property tax rate is significantly dropped, you get the owner-occupant exemption, and you get the owner-occupant rate. This bill will clarify that should the owner pass away, that exemptions and those benefits carry on to the spouse. This kind of just solidified it in the code. Again, I look at it as house cleaning. or housekeeping, and that should be no problem in passing. And then the last one was a bill that, and I think we talked about this on a couple of the roundups. Our real property, our vehicle registration tax that we pay, the county tax, includes a beautification fee, and we all pay $5 a year. And that fee goes into a fund that takes care of the highways and the abandoned vehicles and so forth. It was Councilmember DeCosta, in talking with the administration a couple of months ago, found out that the rental cars were being charged only $1 a year. And that did not make any sense. So this bill simply brings that $1 on the rental car tax up to $5, so that the rental cars all pay the same as the residents.
And I think there even was some discussion of, let's make the rental cars pay $10 and
Yeah,
but then that wouldn't be allowed by
I wanted
state
10.
law.
Billy DeCosta wanted 20. I would have supported 20, but the state law does not allow us to differentiate in the vehicle registration taxes between a residential tax and a rental car tax. So
It couldn't be higher then.
Correct.
One couldn't be higher.
we could make one less, but we couldn't. So rather than raise the residential tax,
You're going to
we-
raise them both if you're going to raise
Correct.
them beyond $10.
So this bill just raises the rental car registration tax from $1 a year to $5, and everybody be same.
Yeah.
That was it. That was a
was
pretty
it.
quick. I got, again, mahalos to Hoike. They let us come in here every week to do the roundup. Our cameraman Roger gets to watch this and watch it live and then do all the editing, make it look nice for all of you. So mahalos to Hoike, and don't forget you can always watch our meetings on Hoike Channel 53, as well as www.kauai.gov. Again, Hoike does all the filming there. And you can see our meetings there as well. Live, you can watch it live.
No meeting next week, but we'll see you the week after.
But if you go to www.kauai.gov or Hoike, you can watch our old meetings if you feel so inclined.
Got caught up.
Yeah. Anyway, until the next time, Kipukai Kualii.
Aloha.
We'll see you guys next time. Aloha.
See you.